My friends, tonight I want to talk to you about the heart. Not the organ that beats in your chest, but the center of your life, your thoughts, your desires, your loves. When your physical heart is troubled, you rush to the doctor. You want healing, you want life. But what about your spiritual heart? There is a greater trouble than clogged arteries or weak muscles. It is the trouble of guilt, fear, bitterness, and sin that weighs heavy on the human heart. And tonight I bring good news. There is a cure for heart trouble. The cure is not found in a pill bottle, not in wealth, not in achievements. The cure is found in the love of God revealed in His Son, Jesus Christ. He alone can take a heart that is restless and give it peace. He alone can wash a heart that is stained and make it clean. He alone can take a heart that is broken and make it whole. The cure for heart trouble is not something you earn. It is something you receive. It is a gift of grace, a miracle of mercy. And it is for you tonight. You don't need to live with your burdens, your secret fears, your hidden shame. The great physician is here. He says, "Let not your heart be troubled. Believe in me." Will you open your heart? Will you let Him cure the trouble within? For when you walk out of here tonight, you can leave with peace, with joy, with life everlasting. That is the cure for heart trouble. When we talk about the heart, most people think first of that organ beating in the chest, pumping blood through the body, keeping us alive with every steady rhythm. And it is true, the physical heart is vital. If it stops, life itself ceases. Yet there is another sense of the heart that runs far deeper. When I speak of the heart, I mean the very center of who you are. The seat of your thoughts, your affections, your desires, your will. It is the place where your deepest decisions are made, where your loves are set, and where your motives are born. The heart is not just what you feel with, it is what you live from. The scripture says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." That means your heart defines your life, and whatever rules your heart rules you. Consider this: you can have a strong, healthy body and yet carry a sick, troubled heart. You may appear outwardly successful, smiling on the surface, but inside your heart is heavy, restless, divided. That inner self is what I am speaking about. When your heart is darkened by guilt, when it is weighed down by worry, when it is restless with longing or poisoned with bitterness, that heart is in greater danger than any failing organ. And the tragedy is this: people will rush to the hospital if they feel a pain in their chest, but they will ignore the pain in their soul. They will pay any price for physical healing, but they will neglect the healing of their inner being, which is eternal. Your heart is the control center of your life. Everything you say, every action you take flows out of the condition of that heart. If it is filled with anger, your words will be sharp. If it is filled with greed, your choices will be selfish. If it is filled with fear, your steps will be hesitant. But if your heart is filled with love, forgiveness, and peace, that too will overflow into everything you do. This is why the condition of the heart is the most important matter you will ever face. Let me remind you, the heart is not neutral. It is always moving toward something. It clings, it desires, it treasures. What you set your heart on becomes your master. For some, it is money. For others, it is recognition. For many, it is pleasure or security or control. And yet none of these can truly satisfy. They may quiet the restlessness for a moment, but soon the emptiness returns. The human heart was not made for temporary things. It was made for eternal truth, eternal love, eternal life. That is why nothing in this world can ever fully satisfy it. So when I speak of the heart, I am not talking about a muscle in your chest. I am speaking of you, the real you. And until that heart is made right, until it is healed and set free, no amount of outward success will quiet the trouble within. That is why this subject is not optional. It is not a matter of curiosity, but of life and death. When a man or woman feels a sharp pain in the chest, they do not ignore it. They do not brush it off and say, "Oh, it will pass." No, they feel the urgency, the danger, and they rush to the doctor. If the pain grows stronger, they will hurry to the hospital, even in the middle of the night, because they know the heart is too important to gamble with. When it comes to the physical heart, we recognize the seriousness. We know that one clogged artery can change everything. We know that one silent attack can end a life. And so people spend thousands of dollars, endure long treatments, and faithfully swallow their medicine because they fear what might happen if they do not. But I want you to think of the spiritual heart. Why is it that we are so quick to treat the physical, yet so slow to treat the soul? A man can be careful about what he eats, measuring every calorie, cutting down on salt and sugar, yet he fills his mind with anger and his heart with bitterness. A woman can go for regular checkups, making sure her blood pressure is under control, yet her inner life is choked with envy, anxiety, and resentment. The world applauds such outward care, but the deeper heart goes unattended. My friends, a troubled heart on the inside can do far more damage than a troubled heart on the outside. Let me ask you a question. If you had chest pains right now, would you wait 6 months before seeing a doctor? Would you say, "I'll deal with it when it's convenient"? Of course not. Yet how many people feel the gnawing unrest of guilt, the heavy weight of fear, the emptiness of loneliness, and still push it aside? They say, "One day I'll get right. One day I'll deal with what's inside." But tomorrow never comes, and the heart grows sicker with every passing day. You see, urgency drives us to action. When you believe your life is at risk, you act immediately. And I tell you with love and truth, your spiritual life is at risk when your heart is in trouble. You may have years left in your body, but without peace in your soul. You are already living under the shadow of death. The restlessness you feel, the burden you carry, the ache you cannot shake, that is the warning sign. Just as chest pain is a signal to call the doctor, a troubled spirit is God's way of calling you to Himself. Do not wait until it is too late. People regret ignoring their physical symptoms, but there is an even greater regret in ignoring the cry of the soul. There is a physician who does not charge you, who does not require insurance, who heals not just for a season but forever. He waits for you to come, and just as quickly as you would run to a hospital in the night, you must run to Him now. For the urgency of the body is real, but the urgency of the heart is eternal. There is a strange blindness in the human heart. When the body aches, when the chest tightens, when the pulse weakens, we are quick to pay attention. We seek help immediately because we know our lives may depend upon it. But when it comes to spiritual heart trouble, the guilt that gnaws at the conscience, the bitterness that poisons our thoughts, the fear that robs us of peace, we push it aside. We bury it, we deny it. We say to ourselves, "I'm fine. I'll deal with it later." But, my friend, that later often never comes, and what begins as a small, untreated wound of the soul grows into a sickness that can consume your entire life. We live in a world where many people are experts at hiding their spiritual pain. They dress well, they smile in public, they look successful on the outside, but deep inside their hearts are restless. They cannot sleep without distraction, cannot sit in silence without unease, cannot face themselves without discomfort. This is spiritual heart trouble. And yet, instead of facing it, they numb it. Some numb it with business, piling on work and entertainment to drown out the inner cry. Some numb it with substances, hoping to escape for a while. Others numb it with pride, convincing themselves that if they look strong enough, no one will notice the weakness inside. But denial does not heal. Distraction does not cure. It only delays the inevitable. The tragedy is this: people recognize the seriousness of physical illness, but they ignore the eternal consequences of spiritual illness. A man will not neglect chest pain because he fears losing his earthly life, but he will neglect his soul. Even though eternity hangs in the balance, what a deception it is to spend so much energy saving the body, which is temporary, while neglecting the heart, which will live forever. The truth is that spiritual heart trouble is more dangerous than physical heart trouble. You may live another 30 years with a weak body, but you cannot live in peace for one day with a troubled soul. You may repair your physical health with surgery and medicine, but no hospital on earth can cleanse the guilt of sin or quiet the fear of death. or mend the wounds of shame. That is why ignoring the inner condition is far more dangerous than ignoring the outer. If only we could see ourselves as God sees us. He does not look at the outward appearance. He looks at the heart. He sees the burdens you carry, the secrets you hide, the restlessness you feel. He knows when your heart is sick, even if you will not admit it. And He is not indifferent to it. He is not waiting to condemn you. He is waiting to heal you. But the first step to healing is acknowledging that you need it. Just as no doctor can treat a patient who refuses to admit they are sick, no spiritual cure can reach a soul that denies its own trouble. So I plead with you, do not ignore the warning signs within. Do not silence the cry of your soul. Do not push away the gentle tug that tells you something is not right. For the worst heart trouble is not the one that sends you to the emergency room. The worst heart trouble is the one that you pretend does not exist until one day it is too late to be healed. There are weights that no doctor's stethoscope can measure and no medical machine can detect. They do not show up in a scan or a blood test, but they are felt deeply in the hidden chambers of the heart. Guilt, fear, bitterness, and sin, these are the unseen burdens that trouble countless lives. They press upon the soul like a heavy stone, making every step in life harder, robbing a person of peace and joy. You may not see these weights with your eyes, but you can feel them in the restless nights, in the anxious thoughts, and in the moments when silence becomes unbearable. Guilt is one of the heaviest of these burdens. It is the memory of words spoken in anger, of promises broken, of wrongs committed that cannot be undone. You may try to forget, but the conscience has a way of whispering when you least expect it. It follows you into the quiet and reminds you of what you wish to erase. And guilt is not easily silenced. You may try to excuse it or cover it or justify it, but deep down you know it is still there. Like a chain, it binds the heart, keeping you from ever feeling truly free. Then there is fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of death. Some fear the unknown future, while others fear the haunting past. Fear is a thief. It steals your courage, your confidence, your joy. It whispers lies that keep you from living fully. And when the heart is troubled by fear, life becomes a prison, and you live as a captive instead of as a free soul. Bitterness also poisons the heart. It grows from old wounds, from betrayals, from disappointments that were never healed. Bitterness hardens the spirit. It makes a person cynical, distrusting, unable to forgive. And the tragedy of bitterness is that it hurts the one who carries it more than the one it is aimed at. It is like drinking poison and expecting another person to die. Yet many live with that poison in their hearts, never realizing that it is killing them slowly. And above all these lies the weight of sin. Sin is not just the breaking of rules. It is the breaking of fellowship with God. It is the disease of the soul that infects every thought and action. Sin separates, it corrupts, it blinds. And while guilt, fear, and bitterness are symptoms, sin is the root of them all. As long as sin remains untreated, the heart will never be at rest. This is why the heart is in such trouble. People try to medicate themselves with distractions, with possessions, with pleasures, but none of these can lift the burden. The guilt remains. The fear lingers. The bitterness festers. The sin holds tight. Until the heart finds forgiveness, cleansing, and healing, these weights will press down, making life heavy and hopeless. But, my friend, there is hope. The heart does not have to remain under these burdens. The one who created the heart can also set it free. He can lift the guilt, calm the fear, remove the bitterness, and forgive the sin. The troubled heart can be made whole. The question is, will you let Him take the weight from you? Many people in this world search for a cure to their troubled hearts in the wrong places. They turn to medicine cabinets, though no pill can calm a guilty conscience. They turn to wealth, thinking if only they had more, their emptiness would vanish. They turn to achievements, climbing ladders of success, yet finding the view at the top just as lonely as the bottom. But my friend, none of these things can cure the trouble of the heart. They may soothe the surface for a moment, but they cannot reach the depths where the true sickness lies. Consider money. There are people who have gained fortunes beyond imagination. Their homes are filled with every comfort, their closets with every luxury. Yet they lie awake at night in fear, unable to find rest. Why? Because money can buy pleasures, but it cannot buy peace. It can purchase entertainment, but it cannot purchase forgiveness. It can build walls of security around you, but it cannot secure your soul against the storm inside. Money cannot cure heart trouble. Think of achievements. A man may earn degrees, win awards, and receive applause from the world, but when the lights fade and the crowd disperses, he is left alone with himself. And if his heart is heavy with guilt or restless with longing, no amount of recognition will erase that. The shelves may be full of trophies, but the heart is still empty. The applause of men cannot silence the accusations of the conscience. What about pleasures? People chase them relentlessly. They run from one thrill to another, from one indulgence to the next, hoping to escape the unease inside. But when the pleasure fades, the emptiness returns, stronger than before, like drinking salt water to quench thirst. The more they take in, the more desperate they become. No pleasure of this world can satisfy the hunger of the heart. Even human relationships, precious as they are, cannot ultimately heal the heart's deepest trouble. A friend can comfort you, a loved one can walk beside you, but they cannot remove the guilt within or mend the soul that is broken. Sometimes, people lean so heavily on others that they are crushed when those others fail. And fail they will, because no human being was ever meant to carry the burden of another's soul. The truth is simple but sobering. The cure for heart trouble is not found in anything this world offers. The world can dress you in fine clothes, seat you in beautiful houses, and surround you with admirers, yet still leave you empty inside. The world can fill your hands but leave your heart hollow. All its treasures are like bandages placed on a wound that lies deep within, covering but not healing. And so we must face this reality. If the cure is not in wealth, not in success, not in pleasure, not in human approval, where is it? My friend, it is found only in the one who made the heart. The Creator alone knows how to heal His creation. The world may offer shadows, but He offers substance. The world may offer distractions, but He offers deliverance. Until you turn to Him, the heart will remain in trouble, restless and unsatisfied, no matter what else you gain. The world is searching for answers in every direction. Men and women chase after cures for their troubled hearts in psychology, in philosophy, in self-help books, and endless distractions. They hope that if they learn enough, buy enough, travel far enough, or surround themselves with enough comforts, the ache inside will disappear. But the truth remains, the deepest wounds of the human heart cannot be healed by human hands. The ultimate cure is found only in the love of God. This love is not like the fleeting love of the world. It is not conditional, based on your performance or your worthiness. Human love often says, I will love you as long as you please me, as long as you succeed, as long as you meet my expectations. But God's love says, I love you even when you fail, even when you fall, even when you have nothing to offer me. It is a love that reaches into the darkest places, where shame hides, where guilt festers, where fear thrives, and it shines with a light that no darkness can overcome. The love of God is not sentimental or shallow. It is powerful, transforming, life-giving. It takes the heart that is restless and gives it peace. It takes the heart that is stained and washes it clean. It takes the heart that is broken and makes it whole again. No philosophy can do that. No amount of money can do that. No achievement can do that. Only the love of God, reaching down to the very depths of who you are, can bring about that kind of healing. And this love is not a theory, not a vague idea. It is real, and it has been proven. It was proven when God sent His Son into this world, not to condemn, but to save, not to crush the guilty, but to forgive them, not to turn away from the broken, but to bind them up. The cross stands as the eternal testimony of this love. A love so strong it bore the weight of every sin. A love so deep it stretched out its arms to embrace the whole world. A love so enduring that even death could not extinguish it. What does this mean for you? It means you do not have to earn the cure for your troubled heart. You do not have to clean yourself up first, or prove your worth, or achieve perfection. The love of God meets you right where you are, weak, weary, wounded, and offers healing freely. It is not a reward, it is a gift. And it is a gift that never runs out. So when I say the ultimate cure is found in the love of God, I am not offering a distant hope, but a present reality. Right now, in this very moment, that love is reaching toward you. Right now, it is inviting you to lay down your burdens and let it heal what nothing else has been able to touch. The world's promises are temporary, but God's love is eternal. The world's cures are shallow, but His is complete. And until the heart finds its home in that love, it will never truly be well. That love of God is not hidden in mystery, nor locked away where no one can reach it. It has been revealed openly, plainly, unmistakably in the life and sacrifice of His Son, Jesus Christ. If you want to see the cure for heart trouble with your own eyes, you do not need to search the stars or wander through endless philosophies. You need only look at Him. In Christ, the love of God is not an abstract thought, but a living reality. Look at His life. He did not come to dwell in palaces or sit on earthly thrones. He walked among the poor, the sick, the broken, the outcasts. He touched lepers when others would not come near. He lifted the fallen when others walked past. He forgave sinners when others condemned them. Every word He spoke, every act of kindness He performed was the love of God in human form. For the restless He gave peace. For the fearful He gave courage. For the guilty He offered forgiveness. His life was a living demonstration of the cure that troubled hearts so desperately need. But it was not only His life that revealed God's love. It was His death. On the cross, He bore the weight of all that troubles the human heart. Guilt, fear, bitterness, sin, He took it all upon Himself. The punishment that should have fallen on us fell on Him instead. The judgment we deserved was absorbed by His sacrifice. And in that moment, the greatest exchange in history took place. He took our sin, and He offered us His righteousness. He took our death, and He gave us His life. He took our despair, and He replaced it with hope. No philosopher, no teacher, no leader in all of history has done this. Only Christ has laid down His life to cure the deepest sickness of the soul. And then His resurrection sealed the truth of it all. If death could not hold Him, then sin has truly been defeated. If the grave could not contain Him, then the troubled heart has a living hope. The empty tomb is God's eternal declaration that His love is stronger than death, stronger than fear, stronger than every force that troubles the heart. So when I say the love of God is revealed in His Son, I mean that everything you need for peace, forgiveness, cleansing, and wholeness has already been made available through Jesus Christ. He is not one cure among many. He is the only cure. He is not one path among others. He is the way, the truth, and the life. To reject Him is to reject the only medicine that can heal the heart. To receive Him is to find the life that nothing else in this world can give. My friend, do not look elsewhere. Do not waste your years chasing what cannot save you. The love of God has come near, revealed clearly, offered freely. It has a name, and that name is Jesus. And until you let Him into your heart, the trouble will remain. But when you do, His love will do what nothing else can. It will heal you, restore you, and make you whole. The human heart is restless. From the earliest days of life, we find ourselves searching for meaning, searching for belonging, searching for peace. We chase dreams, we set goals, we run after pleasures, yet the heart still longs for something more. Deep down, every soul knows this hunger, even if it cannot put it into words. You can hear it in the sigh at the end of a long day. You can feel it in the emptiness that lingers, even after success. You can sense it in the quiet moments when distractions fade away and the questions of life rise to the surface. Why am I here? What is the point? Is there more than this? That restlessness is the sign of a heart searching for peace. But peace cannot be found in the shifting sands of this world. Circumstances change, fortunes rise and fall, relationships bloom and wither. One day the sun shines, the next the storm comes. If your peace depends on things that change, your heart will never rest. And many live this way, tossed about like a ship on stormy seas, at the mercy of events they cannot control. They may smile outwardly, but inwardly they are weary from the constant turmoil. Only Christ can calm that storm within. He alone offers a peace that is not dependent on outward circumstances. When he walked this earth, there was a night when his disciples were trapped in a boat, battered by winds and waves. Fear gripped them, for the sea was raging. But Christ stood and spoke a word, "Peace, be still," and the storm obeyed him. That same voice that calmed the waves can calm the troubled heart. He does not promise to remove every storm from your life, but he promises to give you peace in the midst of the storm. A peace that surpasses understanding, a peace that guards your heart and mind. Think of it, the very things that make the world anxious, the future, failure, death, lose their grip when Christ enters the heart. He replaces fear with trust, restlessness with assurance, despair with hope. This peace is not fragile. It does not shatter when life is hard. It is anchored in him, and because he is unchanging, the peace he gives is unshakable. How different life becomes when a heart at war finds peace in him. The anxious thoughts grow quiet. The gnawing guilt is replaced with forgiveness. The burden of trying to prove yourself to the world is lifted, because in him you are already loved and accepted. This is not a temporary relief like the world offers, but a lasting calm that flows from the one who is the Prince of Peace. My friend, perhaps your heart has been restless for years. Perhaps you have tried every cure the world suggests, only to find yourself weary and unsatisfied. I tell you, there is only one answer, and it is Christ. When he enters your life, he does not simply rearrange your circumstances. He transforms your heart, and in that transformation, you will discover the peace you have been longing for all your life. There is nothing that troubles the heart more deeply than the stain of guilt. We all know what it feels like. The memory of something we said that cannot be unsaid. The regret of a choice we made that cannot be undone. The shadow of actions that follow us wherever we go. We may try to cover it. We may try to forget it, but guilt clings to the conscience like a dark stain that no amount of scrubbing can remove. You may laugh with friends, succeed at work, even attend to all your duties. Yet when the night is quiet and you are alone with your thoughts, guilt whispers its accusing voice. You are not clean. You are not worthy. You are not forgiven. This stain is heavier than any burden we can carry on our shoulders. Some attempt to silence it with excuses. Everyone makes mistakes. I'm only human. Others try to justify themselves. What I did wasn't so bad. Others have done worse, but the heart knows the truth. Excuses may fool others, but they cannot erase the inner awareness of sin. And the longer we carry it, the heavier it becomes. It seeps into every corner of life, robbing us of joy, draining us of peace, clouding our relationship with others, and above all, separating us from God. The world offers many false cleansers for guilt. Some turn to achievements, thinking if they do enough good, it will outweigh the bad. Others turn to distractions, hoping to drown out the accusing voice with noise and activity. Still others turn to philosophies that deny the reality of guilt altogether. But no matter how hard we try to silence the conscience, the stain remains. You cannot wash away guilt with good deeds any more than you can clean a red wine stain by pouring water over it. It only spreads wider. But here is the hope. What no human effort can cleanse, the blood of Christ can. His sacrifice on the cross was not just an act of love. It was an act of cleansing. He bore the weight of our sins so that the stain could be removed forever. When his blood was shed, it became the only detergent strong enough to wash the heart white as snow. And when you come to him in repentance, he does not cover your sin. He removes it. He does not leave behind a faded mark. He erases it completely. The record of guilt is wiped clean, and the heart is made new. Imagine the freedom of walking without that stain. Imagine the peace of lying down at night with a clear conscience, no longer haunted by the past. Imagine the joy of knowing that your wrongs have not only been forgiven, but forgotten by the one who holds eternity in his hands. That is what Christ offers to every troubled heart. So if you are carrying guilt today, know this: you do not have to keep carrying it. You cannot wash it away on your own, but you do not have to. The cure has already been provided. Christ stands ready to take the stain, to cleanse your heart, and to give you a new beginning. All you must do is let Him. There is a sorrow deeper than loneliness, a wound far more devastating than failure, and that is the broken heart. A broken heart is not always visible. Often it is hidden behind smiles, behind business, behind a facade of strength. Yet it is real, and it is heavy. It may come from betrayal by someone trusted, from dreams that have been shattered, from relationships that have failed, or from loss that cannot be undone. It is the kind of pain that leaves a person questioning their worth, doubting their purpose, and wondering if life will ever feel whole again. A broken heart feels as though it cannot be mended, as if the pieces are lost forever. Many attempt to repair a broken heart on their own. They throw themselves into work, hoping accomplishment will fill the emptiness. They search for new relationships, hoping someone else can fix what was damaged. They seek pleasures and distractions, hoping the thrill will numb the ache. But all of these are temporary solutions. The heart, when broken, longs for something deeper than human effort can provide. The fractures remain, the emptiness persists, and the pain returns, often stronger than before. The truth is that a broken heart cannot be healed by human hands alone. We are limited, fragile, and often the very people we trust most can unintentionally add to the wound. Only one has the power to take the shattered pieces of a heart and restore them completely. That one is Jesus Christ. He knows what it means to be broken. He knows rejection, betrayal, sorrow, and pain. And because of that, He does not offer a temporary patch, but a full restoration. When Christ enters a broken heart, He begins the work of renewal. He does not force the heart to heal instantly, nor does He rush the process. Healing is often gradual, gentle, and tender, yet it is complete. He binds the wounds, comforts the afflicted, and fills the emptiness with His presence. Where there was despair, He brings hope. Where there was bitterness, He brings forgiveness. Where there was isolation, He brings companionship and love. In His care, the heart is not only repaired, it is made stronger than it was before. Imagine a heart once broken now beating with new life, filled with joy, peace, and purpose. Imagine the relief of knowing that the past no longer controls you, that the failures and hurts of yesterday no longer define who you are. That is the promise of Christ to every heart that has been shattered by life's trials. He does not just mend what is broken, He transforms it. So if you carry a broken heart today, do not despair. Do not believe that the pain will last forever. The great physician is able to restore what has been lost, to heal what has been wounded, and to make the heart whole again. All that is required is that you open your heart to Him, surrender your pain, and let His love flow into every broken piece. In His hands, your heart is not only cured, it is renewed and made beautiful. Many people labor under a mistaken belief that the cure for a troubled heart is something they must earn. They think if they are good enough, if they perform the right deeds, if they obey the rules perfectly, then perhaps God or life itself will reward them with peace. They strive endlessly, hoping that effort alone will remove the guilt, the fear, the bitterness, and the restlessness within. But my friend, no amount of human striving can bring the heart its true healing. The cure is not something you earn, it is something you receive. Consider the world system of earning. A worker receives a paycheck for the hours he puts in. A student receives a grade for the work he completes. A servant receives a reward for his loyalty. These are all earned, they are based on effort and merit, but the heart's deepest needs cannot be met in this way. No performance, no success, no ritual can ever pay the debt of sin or remove the burden of guilt. Trying to earn peace is like trying to buy sunlight or purchase air. It is impossible. The heart longs for something that is freely given, something that cannot be weighed or measured, something that comes as a gift. That gift is the grace of God. Grace is love and mercy extended to those who do not deserve it, who cannot earn it, who are powerless to achieve it on their own. It is God's hand reaching down to the weary, the broken, the burdened, and saying, I love you. I forgive you. I will heal you. Grace is not fair in the worldly sense, and it is not based on your performance. It is not something you earn through effort or merit. It is something you accept by faith. When you open your heart to receive it, it becomes the power that transforms your life. This is a revolutionary truth, and it challenges everything we often believe. We are taught from childhood that we must earn approval, earn success, earn respect. But when it comes to the soul, the heart, the deepest part of who we are, nothing we do can earn what God freely gives. It is not a reward. It is a remedy. It is not a prize. It is a cure. And because it is given freely, it is available to all, regardless of the mistakes of the past or the failures of the present. Receiving this grace requires humility. It requires admitting that we cannot save ourselves, that we are powerless to heal our own hearts. It requires a simple, open-handed surrender saying, I cannot do this on my own. I need you. And when that surrender is made, the heart begins to experience what the world cannot offer: true peace, real forgiveness, and lasting joy. So remember, the cure for heart trouble is not earned, it is received. It is not bought, it is not merited, it is a gift of grace. The moment you open your heart to God's love, the moment you accept His mercy, the healing begins. And that healing is complete, powerful, and eternal. Mercy is a word that many hear, but few fully understand. In the human heart, mercy is often conditional. We forgive when we feel like it. We show compassion when it suits us, and we offer grace only when it benefits us. But God's mercy is different. It is not limited. It is not earned. It is not withheld because of our failures. God's mercy is freely available to all who come to Him, and it is powerful enough to reach even the deepest, darkest corners of the human heart. The mercy of God is a lifeline for the troubled heart. When guilt presses down like a heavy stone, mercy lifts it away. When fear grips the soul and paralyzes every thought, mercy calms the storm. When bitterness and resentment threaten to consume a life, mercy brings forgiveness and freedom. It is not a temporary relief or a shallow comfort. It is the full, enduring intervention of God Himself in the life of a broken human being. No human mercy can accomplish what God's mercy can. The mercy of men can fail, but the mercy of God is steadfast and eternal. Consider the parable of the prodigal son. The young man squandered his inheritance, lived in rebellion, and returned home ashamed and broken. Yet when he came back, his father did not scold, did not delay, and did not question his worthiness. He ran to him, embraced him, and celebrated his return. That is mercy in its purest form, a love that does not wait for perfection, a compassion that does not measure worthiness, a grace that meets the lost where they are. This is the mercy God offers to every troubled heart. God's mercy is also a call to action for the heart. It invites us to release our burdens, to lay down our guilt, and to stop trying to earn what we can never earn. It challenges the soul to stop clinging to resentment and self-condemnation, and to accept the cleansing, renewing love of God. The mercy of God is not passive. It transforms. It changes the way we see ourselves, the way we see others, and the way we walk through life. It does not leave the heart the same. It makes it whole, capable of hope, filled with joy, and freed from fear. The beauty of this mercy is that it is available tonight, right now. There is no limit, no restriction, no waiting period. If your heart is heavy with shame, or despair, the mercy of God can reach it. You do not need to clean yourself first. You do not need to prove your worth, and you do not need to earn it. You simply need to receive it. The same mercy that calmed storms, forgave sins, and raised the dead can touch your life and bring the healing your heart has been longing for. So do not despair, do not wait, and do not think yourself beyond hope. God's mercy is sufficient, powerful, and freely available. It is the medicine for the soul, the balm for the wounded, the cure for every troubled heart that turns to Him. Every person sitting here tonight is unique, yet every heart carries burdens. Some are hidden behind laughter, some are veiled in business, and some are quietly endured in silence. The struggles may seem invisible to others, but God sees them all. And the greatest truth for a troubled heart is this: the cure, the healing, the restoration that God offers is personal. It is not a general blessing to be shared among the crowd. It is for you. Consider how the world treats help when something goes wrong. We often look for generic solutions, advice books, motivational speeches, or broad self-help strategies. They may provide temporary relief, but they do not address the individual heart. The pain, the longing, the guilt you carry is unique to you. And so generic solutions cannot touch it. But God's love is not general, it is precise. It knows your name, it knows your struggles, it knows the deepest corners of your heart that even you may try to hide. He is not offering a one-size-fits-all remedy. He is offering a personal cure, custom made for your life, designed to meet you exactly where you are. This is why the message of hope is not just for someone out there, but for each person here tonight. The grace that lifts burdens, the mercy that forgives, the love that heals, the power that restores, it is all for you. God does not say, I will heal the majority and the rest can fend for themselves. No, he says, I have come to seek and save the lost. I have come to give life to the weary. I have come to bind up the brokenhearted. The invitation is intimate, personal, and immediate. Think about the power of that truth. No matter how heavy your heart feels, no matter how deep your guilt or shame runs, no matter how long you have carried fear, despair, or loneliness, God's love is reaching specifically to you. You are not an accident in His plan, not an afterthought in His design. Your life, your heart, your burdens, they matter to Him. And because it is personal, the healing you receive is complete. It is not diluted or shared, it is poured out fully for you. Many people never experience true relief because they believe healing is meant for others, but not for them. They think, I am too far gone, too broke, unworthy. But God does not measure worthiness the way we do. He measures by need, by openness, by willingness to receive. And tonight, if your heart is willing, He can meet you. He can cleanse you. He can restore you. He can bring peace where there has been chaos, joy where there has been sorrow, and hope where there has been despair. The cure for heart trouble is personal. It is not abstract. It is not vague. It is real. It is specific, and it is for you. If you will open your heart and accept it, you will find that the God who sees, knows, and loves you personally can do what no human hand, no worldly remedy, no achievement, and no wealth can ever accomplish. Many people carry burdens in silence, pretending to be strong when inwardly they are struggling. They hide their fears behind smiles, conceal their guilt behind accomplishments, and bury their bitterness beneath business. The world may applaud the appearance of strength, but God sees the truth. He sees the hidden burdens, the private sorrows, the secret struggles that weigh down the heart. And the truth is this: no one needs to live under those burdens alone. The troubled heart was never meant to bear its load without help. Think for a moment about the weight some carry. Some carry regrets that gnaw at their conscience day and night. Some carry resentment toward those who have wronged them, letting it fester until it consumes their joy. Some carry fear of the future, anxiety about circumstances beyond their control, and worry that drains their peace. These burdens are heavy and left untreated. They only grow heavier with time. Yet so many people act as if they must endure them alone, as if asking for help or seeking healing were a sign of weakness. But true strength begins when you acknowledge your need. The heart was created to be in relationship with God, with others, and even with oneself. It cannot thrive in isolation. When we attempt to carry burdens alone, we become exhausted, anxious, and restless. We may find temporary relief in distractions or accomplishments, but the underlying pain remains. The truth is that the greatest healing begins when we bring our burdens into the light, when we confess our struggles, admit our guilt, and open our hearts. We create space for God's power to work. The Bible tells us to cast all our cares upon God because He cares for us. That is not a suggestion. It is a promise. Every burden, every fear, every weight of guilt or shame can be laid at His feet. He does not turn away. He does not say, "Come back when you are stronger." He meets us where we are, broken and weary, and he offers rest. The relief that comes from his presence is not partial or temporary. It is deep and sustaining. No human being can bear the full weight of your burdens, but God can. No human advice can erase the guilt, the fear, or the bitterness in your heart, but his love and his mercy can. And the beauty of this truth is that you do not have to wait for the perfect moment or for the right conditions. God is ready today, right now, to lift the load you have been carrying, to calm the storms in your heart, and to bring peace where there has been unrest. So do not continue to live with burdens that were never meant to be yours alone. Do not let fear, guilt, or shame dominate your life. Open your heart. Admit your need. Bring it to God, the great physician of the soul, and receive the healing, the rest, and the freedom that only he can give. The heart was never meant to suffer in silence, and the cure for heart trouble is found in allowing God to carry the weight you cannot bear. The human heart is a battlefield. Fear wages war, guilt weighs heavily, bitterness festers, and anxiety clouds every thought. For many, life feels like an unending struggle to find rest and relief. And yet, in the midst of this chaos, there is hope, a hope that is not dependent on circumstances, wealth, or human strength. There is one who offers peace that cannot be taken away, freedom that cannot be stolen, and restoration that no enemy can destroy. That one is Jesus Christ, the great physician who heals the soul. When we talk about Christ as the great physician, we are not speaking metaphorically alone. He knows what it means to be human. He felt hunger, pain, fatigue, rejection, and sorrow. He experienced the loneliness of life in a fallen world. He knew the sting of betrayal, the anguish of injustice, and the weight of responsibility for others. And yet, even in his humanity, he came not to condemn but to heal. He came not to punish but to restore. He came to offer life to those whose hearts were troubled, weary, or broken. This is why the heart can find true relief in him. No matter how long the struggle has lasted, no matter how deep the sorrow, no matter how heavy the burden, Christ has the power to bring healing. He does not offer a temporary solution, a fleeting comfort, or a superficial fix. He offers a complete, lasting cure. He takes the restless heart and fills it with peace. He takes the burdened heart and gives it rest. He takes the broken heart and makes it whole. Consider the scripture where it says, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." This is not just an invitation, it is a promise. The rest Christ offers is not conditional upon your wealth, your status, your past success, or even your moral perfection. It is available to all who come with an open heart, acknowledging their need. He does not ask you to first fix yourself. He asks only that you come. And when you do, he begins the work of healing from the inside out. The great physician knows exactly where the heart is hurting. He understands the wounds no one else sees. He reaches into the hidden places of fear, guilt, bitterness, and shame, and brings light where darkness has held sway. Healing under his hand is not just physical or emotional, it is spiritual. It restores relationships with others, with oneself, and with God. It transforms the heart, enabling it to love, forgive, and experience true joy. No other remedy compares. No advice, no self-help, no therapy, no achievement can bring the deep, lasting relief that comes from Christ alone. The heart that has been troubled for years can find peace, freedom, and restoration in his presence. The great physician waits for every soul to turn to him. He waits to lift burdens, to calm storms, and to heal the wounds that have long been ignored. If your heart is heavy tonight, if guilt, fear, or pain has weighed you down, know this: Christ, the great physician, is ready to heal. All you must do is come. There is a promise spoken long ago that still speaks to every heart today. Let not your heart be troubled. These words were not merely comforting advice. They were an authoritative declaration from the one who knows the depths of every human soul. Life has a way of troubling the heart. Circumstances fail to meet our expectations. Relationships break, dreams collapse, health fades, finances falter, and through it all, the human heart can feel restless, fearful, and uncertain. But the one who speaks these words offers a peace that surpasses understanding, a calm that cannot be shaken, a rest that cannot be disturbed. To understand this promise fully, we must recognize that it is not dependent on the absence of trouble. The command to let not your heart be troubled comes not in a life free from difficulty, but in the midst of trials and uncertainty. Christ does not promise a life without storms. He promises peace in the storm. He does not promise a heart untouched by fear. He promises courage and assurance in the face of fear. This distinction is vital, for many people have misunderstood the message. They wait for life to be perfect before their hearts can be at rest. But the truth is that peace begins when the heart is surrendered to Him, regardless of external circumstances. Why is this promise so powerful? Because it is rooted in the authority of Christ Himself. He is the Creator, the Sustainer, the one who holds the universe in His hands. If He commands a heart not to be troubled, then no trial, no fear, no burden can ultimately overpower it. He speaks not only with words but with power, and when His Spirit touches a heart, rest replaces unrest, courage replaces fear, and hope replaces despair. This promise is a spiritual reality available to all who believe and trust, but the promise also requires a response. To experience the peace Christ offers, the heart must turn to Him. It must relinquish its own control, its own anxieties, its own striving. It must trust that He is good, that His love is perfect, and that His power is sufficient. This is the essence of faith, believing that God's care and presence are greater than any trouble that may arise. Faith opens the heart to the transformative power of God, allowing His peace to flow in and take root. When a troubled heart receives this promise, life begins to change. Anxiety loosens its grip, fear retreats, the weight of guilt, shame, or disappointment begins to lift. The heart experiences a freedom it has never known. Not because the circumstances have changed, but because the one who commands peace has entered the heart. The restless heart is calmed, the anxious heart reassured, and the fearful heart strengthened. So, my friend, if your heart has been troubled tonight, hear these words and take them to heart. Let not your heart be troubled. Let this be more than a saying. Let it be your reality. Trust Him, surrender to Him, and allow His peace to rule in your life. Even in the midst of trials, even when the night seems long, and even when the road ahead is uncertain, faith is the key that unlocks the door to peace for a troubled heart. Without it, the promises of God remain distant, abstract, and powerless. The heart that does not believe remains restless, anxious, and burdened, no matter how much it longs for relief. Faith is not simply intellectual agreement with a set of ideas. It is trust, reliance, and surrender. It is the decision to lean on the one who has the power to heal, forgive, and restore, even when we cannot see the outcome or understand the process. Many people struggle because they try to fix their hearts on their own. They reason, analyze, or attempt to self-soothe through distraction or achievement. But the heart was never designed to find ultimate rest in human effort. Faith is what shifts the heart from relying on temporary remedies to receiving the eternal solution that God provides. Faith acknowledges, I cannot do this alone. I need help I cannot give myself. It is the act of opening the heart and saying, I trust you, Lord, to do what I cannot do. If faith works in the context of belief in God's promises, when God says, I will never leave you nor forsake you, faith says, I believe you even if I cannot feel it. When God promises forgiveness, faith accepts it for oneself, even if the heart still trembles with guilt. When God assures peace for the troubled, faith reaches out and receives that peace, even amid storms and trials. Faith is the bridge between the promise of God and the experience of healing. Without faith, the heart remains stuck in fear, doubt, and despair. But faith is not passive. It is active, deliberate, and sometimes courageous. It requires stepping into the unknown, trusting in God's character rather than the visible circumstances. The troubled heart often wants certainty before it acts, but faith acts first, confident that God's love and power are sufficient. It chooses to trust God's wisdom and timing, even when the heart feels weak, vulnerable, or unworthy. Faith says, I may not understand everything, but I will rely on the one who does. The power of faith is evident in countless examples throughout Scripture. The woman who touched the hem of Jesus' garment believed and was healed immediately. The centurion who came to Jesus for his servant trusted in his authority, and his servant was restored. Time and time again, faith opens the door for God to act. Without faith, even the greatest blessings remain out of reach. For God honors the trust of the heart that turns to Him in reliance and surrender. Tonight, if your heart is weighed down with fear, guilt, or despair, know this. Faith is the key that allows God's peace to enter. It is not a feeling, it is a decision. It is not earned, it is chosen. When your heart trusts Him, the power of His love and grace flows in, transforming fear into courage, sorrow into hope, and trouble into peace. Faith unlocks the cure for the troubled heart. It opens the door for God Himself to work in your life. Transformation begins the moment a heart opens to God. It is not a slow trickle of improvement, nor is it the result of mere human effort. It is the divine work of the Creator entering into the depths of the soul and setting everything right. When a person truly opens their heart to Him, everything begins to change from the inside out. The burdens that seemed impossible to bear are lifted. The fears that paralyzed the spirit are replaced by courage. The guilt that haunted every thought is washed away. And the restless longing that has never been satisfied finds its ultimate fulfillment. This transformation is profound because it touches the very core of who we are. It is not just external behavior that changes, but the inner motives, desires, and affections. The heart that once loved bitterness now begins to love forgiveness. The mind that once dwelled on fear now trusts in God's promises. The soul that once sought fulfillment in fleeting pleasures now finds contentment in His presence. Every part of the person, thoughts, feelings, choices, and relationships begins to reflect the work of God's healing. The remarkable thing about this transformation is that it is immediate in its effect, even if it grows over time. The moment a heart surrenders, the spiritual chains begin to break. You may still face trials, and the world may continue to bring challenges, but the inner condition of your heart has already been renewed. It is as though the sun has risen after a long night. The darkness may still linger in the corners, but the light has already begun to shine. Transformation through God's work also brings a new perspective. What once seemed unbearable becomes manageable. What once felt like permanent shame is now a lesson from which growth occurs. What once appeared hopeless now becomes an opportunity to trust and rely on His grace. The person who experiences this transformation no longer measures life by circumstances, but by the reality of God's presence and power within. The heart is no longer ruled by fear, guilt, or past failures, but by the hope and assurance that God's love provides. It is important to understand that this transformation is not something we can manufacture ourselves. We cannot force it, earn it, or achieve it through effort alone. It comes only when the heart opens fully to God, admitting its need and trusting Him to do what we cannot do on our own. It requires surrender, humility, and faith. And yet, once that door is open, God's Spirit begins the work immediately and powerfully, reshaping, renewing, and restoring the heart. So tonight, if your heart has been troubled, weighed down, or restless, remember this: the moment you open it to God, transformation begins. You are no longer the same person you were a moment ago. Healing starts within. Freedom begins to flow. Peace takes root. And the heart, once troubled and broken, is set on the path to wholeness, reflecting the love, mercy, and grace of the one who made it and came to redeem it. Hope is the anchor of the soul, the lifeline that keeps the heart steady in the storms of life. Without hope, the heart becomes heavy, restless, and despairing. We all experience moments when circumstances press hard upon us, when the future seems uncertain, when failures or losses weigh down the spirit. It is easy in those moments to believe that relief will never come, that peace is impossible, and that the heart will remain troubled forever. But hope changes everything. It points the heart to something greater, something eternal, something unshakable. The hope that cures a troubled heart is not wishful thinking or blind optimism. It is not dependent on luck, circumstances, or the actions of others. It is the confident expectation of God's presence, God's power, and God's promises. It is the assurance that, no matter how deep the pain or how long the struggle, God is at work, bringing restoration, healing, and peace. This hope does not ignore reality. It acknowledges difficulty, but refuses to be defeated by it. It looks beyond the present trial to the faithfulness of the one who holds the future. Consider what hope does in the heart. When guilt is heavy, hope reminds us that God's forgiveness is available. When fear is paralyzing, hope assures us that God's strength is sufficient. When loneliness threatens to overwhelm, hope testifies that God is present, never leaving or abandoning us. Hope is like a light in the darkness. It does not always remove the night, but it makes the path visible, guiding the heart safely forward. Without hope, even small challenges feel insurmountable. With hope, even the heaviest burdens can be carried, because the heart knows it is not carrying them alone. Hope also empowers action. A heart that is filled with hope does not remain stagnant. It seeks God. It reaches out in faith. It opens to the possibilities of transformation and healing. Hope is the force that motivates the troubled heart to turn toward Christ, to receive His mercy, and to embrace the peace He offers. It does not passively wait for life to improve. It actively trusts that God is able and willing to intervene. The ultimate hope for the troubled heart is eternal. It is anchored in the promise of life beyond this world. Life free from fear, guilt, pain, and sorrow. It is the assurance that God, who began the work of healing and restoration in the heart, will complete it perfectly. This hope provides stability even when life is unpredictable. It offers courage when the way ahead seems uncertain. It gives peace that no circumstance can take away. So tonight, if your heart is weighed down, restless, or heavy with worry, remember this hope is available. It is not a fragile wish. It is the anchor of the soul, firm and secure. When your heart clings to the hope found in God, it finds rest. When it trusts His promises, it finds peace. And when it relies on His presence, it is strengthened for every challenge ahead. Hope is the cure that lifts the troubled heart, restoring it to life, joy, and peace. The final key to a heart cured of trouble is surrender. Surrender is the act of laying down our own will, our own efforts, and our own understanding, and placing them entirely in the hands of God. It is the acknowledgement that we cannot heal ourselves, that we cannot manage every burden, and that we are powerless to remove the guilt, fear, or sorrow that weighs upon us. Surrender is not defeat. It is the greatest act of strength a human heart can perform, because it opens the door for God's perfect power to work where our weakness has failed. Many people resist surrender because it feels like giving up control. They fear that if they let go, life will become uncertain or they will be at the mercy of others. But true surrender is not passivity, it is active trust. It is saying, I cannot fix this, but I trust the one who can. It is handing over the weight of anxiety, guilt, bitterness, and fear, and letting God carry what we were never meant to bear alone. Surrender is the gateway through which peace, restoration, and freedom flow into the troubled heart. When a person surrenders fully, remarkable things begin to happen. The restless mind finds quiet. The anxious heart finds calm. The bitter soul begins to soften. Surrender allows God to move where our efforts cannot reach. It allows His Spirit to heal wounds that have been open for years. It allows His love to replace fear with courage, shame with forgiveness, and despair with hope. The act of surrender does not merely remove the symptoms of a troubled heart. It addresses the root, transforming the heart from within. The Bible shows us that surrender is the path to life. Christ Himself said, "Whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for my sake will find it." In other words, when we hold tightly to our own control, we remain bound and troubled. But when we let go, fully trusting God, we find true life, peace, and healing. Surrender is not a one-time act. It is a daily choice to trust, to yield, and to rely on God's wisdom, power, and love. Many hearts remain troubled because surrender is resisted. Pride tells us we can handle it on our own. Fear tells us we cannot trust God fully. Shame tells us we are unworthy of His help. But the moment the heart chooses surrender, everything begins to change. The burdens we could not lift become lighter. The guilt we could not erase is forgiven. The fear we could not overcome is replaced by courage. The restless heart finally rests in the presence of the one who created it and knows it intimately. So tonight, if your heart is weary, heavy, or burdened, hear this. The final key to true healing is surrender. Lay down your struggles, your fears, your guilt, and your need to control everything. Give it to God. Trust Him to work where you cannot. Allow Him to transform your heart completely. In surrender, the troubled heart finds its cure, and the soul discovers the peace, freedom, and joy that only He can provide.